and you can get everything that way. But I'm just doing it this way because it's easier for me, and plus I've been doing this for a long time. What I normally do is I go to mirrors. Now the mirror I picked yesterday didn't work, so I'm going to pick a different one today. Let's see. Yeah, let's try this one. Okay. It's interesting. I'm going to pick AMD 64 because I think that's what it booted up upstairs. Man, that's small text. I'm looking for stage 3. Okay, well, you can get everything here. I just forgot something. And then if you want to do it like I'm doing it, you'll have to go to System Rescue CD. Now I am using an older version of System Rescue CD because they used to use Gentoo for their base, and then they switched to Arch Linux. Now in the when it was well, I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. I gotta mount the file system first. If you are using one of the older ones, it should look like that. Like I'm using 4.9.0, I think is what it is, and you've got backup custom floppy Gentoo and Windows. If you're using the Arch one, you will have to create the Gentoo directory as well as the boot directory inside Gentoo if you have a boot partition. I don't use a boot partition because it's really not necessary for me anyway. If you're just starting out and you're following the handbook, you're going to have a boot partition, and that's what I did when I first started out, and eventually realized, you know, I don't need that boot partition. But you would have to create the directories under Arch inside the mount directory, and you'd have to create one for Gentoo, and then you would also have to create one for /mount/Gentoo/boot if you have a boot partition. But and there we go. And the only thing that should be in here is lost and found, and that's what's there. Okay, now I can go back. Doing things like this, I should be able to go right to the, there we go. I'm looking for stage 3 right there. Now what I can do here is I can right click it after I highlight it and copy link location is what I want to pick. I can go back to here, and since I'm in the Gentoo directory, I can type in WGET. May have to pause the video for a bit because it's going to take some time to download this, and then right click and paste it into the terminal, and it will start downloading. Now I'm going to pause this because it's going to take a while. Okay, we've got our stage 3 downloaded. So now we're going to untar it. It used to be a tar GZ, but they've changed the extension. One good thing about it, and this is true with any Linux version, you don't have to type out the entire thing. All you got to do is get the first, say, 1, 2, or 3 letters and hit tab one time, and it'll continue and fix the rest of it. Another way you can do it is to write out, say, the stage part and use the asterisk symbol, and it will know, that will work as well. I just use the tab key because that way I know I've got it right. Also, I did not include the V part because that stands for verbose, and it would just write out a bunch of stuff on the screen that literally I don't need to see. I know that the file's good, I know that everything is set up correctly, so there's really no point in having that. It shouldn't take too long. There we go. Okay, now if we clear that, you can hold down the control key and hit the L key to clear the screen, or you can just write in clear. If you get an LS for directory listing, that's pretty much what the file system will look like except for the stage 3 part. I'm going to go ahead and remove that now with the RM command. It'll ask you if you want to remove a regular file, just type Y and it does it, and then we get another LS, and there we go. Now we need to set the make config file, but because we're still in the mount Gentoo folder, we haven't changed root yet, so we have to take Nano. Is a very easy editor to use. Some people like Vi and Vim, and some people like Emacs. I never could get used to Emacs or figure it out, so I just use Nano because it comes with every Linux distro that I've ever tried, and it just works. And it's in the etc folder under portage. Well, I did something wrong. Wait a minute. Did I or didn't I? Let's try again. There we go. Oh, for a second I thought I'd got the wrong folder. Now I'm going to do one thing here. Under common flags, I'm going to add one thing, and that is the dash symbol MARCH equals native NATIVE. And what that'll do right there is it will, I don't have to pick what type of processor I have in the kernel config later on. If I just put in March native, then Gentoo will automatically just use the processor I have. I don't have to explain it. Now, if I could explain it in more detail, that would be a lot better, but honestly, I have no clue. I'm going to come down and make two other. I'm doing it like this because this is how I learned to do it, and I am the type of person that if it's not broke, there's no reason to fix it. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about this, and some people say you should the number of threads, but I go with the number of processors like the handbook says, and you can follow along in the Gentoo handbook for whatever version you want to use. This is AMD 64. They've got them for x86, PPC, which is PowerPC, that's a Mac, Apple hardware, and different ones. Let's see, I gotta go down. I always separate these so that I can make sense out of what I'm looking at. You don't have to. The file could be understood just as easily, but anything that's got a hashtag in front of it is a comment or is disabled. You can actually disable certain things just by putting a hashtag to the left of the line. And I will explain this in a second. how to type. And what this does is it prevents a bunch of text from going by on the screen whenever I'm merging a piece of software. And I learned all these different things just over years of using Gentoo. Really, you have to have patience with Gentoo. If you want everything quick and right away, then you're better off using like Ubuntu or Fedora or something like that. You can, there's many things you can do inside Gentoo with portage and other things, to where you don't have to sit there and handhold it over everything it's doing. You can just get a process started, and once you see that it's starting to work, then you can walk away and leave it, and it'll take care of everything for you. Let me look and see if I've forgotten anything. I don't think I have. Control O writes the file. Control X leaves it. Now, if I were following along on the handbook, then I would, let's see, I should be down to, okay, I've already done this. I've just completed the compile options, and if you look in the handbook, you will even see you can put March native right here. And it really doesn't matter where inside the line you put it. It doesn't have to be exactly like, as long as it's inside these quotes, it'll go through just fine. And we'll move on to installing the Gentoo based system in the next video. So that's all for now.